Hello, people. My name is Rain. I'm not any rich woman wronged by my mother-in-law, but I was wronged by my own parents. This story is about my useless husband, Charlie, and how my parents paid for supporting him over me. I haven't shared this story with anyone before because I don't have a lot of people in my life. I met Charlie through a dating website some 6 years ago. He was working a decent job and seemed to be a decent guy. Charlie wasn't some prince in shining armor, but he definitely was a good boyfriend. We had some amazing years together as a couple at the beginning of the relationship. We dated for 4 years and got married after that. He was a great partner to me and quickly became my parents' favourite. However, I did hold some resentment towards him for that. At every family dinner, my parents were like,
"We are so happy to have you in our family, Charlie. I see that Rain has finally made a decent choice in life. At least she brought you to us."
God really heard our prayers and granted us what we wanted. You know, we both always wanted a son, but never had one. You're such a nice young man and perfect for our family.
Yes, Rain is okay on all, but she can't be our son. She doesn't understand that. Rain has always been a little selfish and greedy for affection. I'm glad you stuck with her even with her flaws.
They were right. I was selfish and greedy for affection. You see, my parents always wanted a son and couldn't have one. Trust me, they tried a bit after having me, but it wasn't possible for them. It made them resent me throughout my life. When I was young, I couldn't understand why they would neglect me and fawn over others' children if they were boys. They always complained about me and how they missed out on a son. As I grew up, I was determined to prove to them that I could be just as good as a son. I got great grades, went to college and had a good job. Hell, I was even sending them monthly allowances so they don't have to work anymore. Still, they never appreciated me at all. Charlie did nothing for them but started to be more loved than me. I kept the resentment aside because I was happy my parents finally approved of one choice I made. Charlie also enjoyed the attention he got from my parents. His own parents had disowned him and I didn't know why. He didn't even have any of his relatives come to the wedding. Slowly, I started to understand why almost everyone in his life ghosted him. He was a freaking thief. I wish I was exaggerating. Trust me, guys, I am not. At first, it started off as leeching. One day, he suddenly took a lower-paying job because he didn't want to work long hours, he said.
So I decided to switch jobs at my company. I got myself a lower position with a pay cut.
What? Why would you do that, Charlie?
The work hours were killing me. I barely have time to play my video games anymore. So I decided to switch jobs. I didn't want to risk going into depression.
You should have consulted me. Charlie, you took a serious pay cut and this will affect our life.
Why would it affect us? You earn well enough to support our lifestyle. Just put more money into our joint accounts. That would do the trick.
You can't just assume that, Charlie. Things like this warrant a family discussion. If you want me to give you more money, you should have discussed this with me.
Do you have no regard for my mental health? Why would I even discuss this with you? We are married, so there is no my money, your money anymore. Stop being so dramatic.
I was a little miffed by Charlie's nonchalance at the entire thing. Also, the way he refused to separate at least a part of our finances also raised alarm bells in my head. Still, I supported him because I loved him. That was the one of my biggest mistakes. Guys, this man literally spent all his money and time on video games. Yes, what little money he got was spent on them. He added like $500 to our joint account, but took out even more money for himself later in the month. Charlie and I had countless fights about this in the past. He was draining my savings and taking almost all of my paychecks. Sometimes, he didn't even make any contributions to the household. He didn't even help with chores. All he did was work, play games, and spend money on things he wanted. I was getting sick and tired of being financially abused like that. No amount of discussion ever helped. Instead, he always turned against me and yelled at me. My parents also supported him. They said,
"Rain, why is your husband calling us saying that you are financially abusing him? This is very unexpected of you, Rain. You better explain yourself."
"Dad, I'm not financially abusing him. In fact, it has been the opposite. He's been draining my savings and making me contribute to 90% of our household expenses."
"So what, Rain? People need to spend money on their family after marriage.
It's shameful how you don't allow Charlie to use your credit card. You are punishing him for not having a fancy job like you. How did you become so greedy?" Mum, he has misused my credit cards before. This is why I don't allow him to do it. I can't risk our future knowing that he has no control over his spending habits. My parents still took Charlie's side. Somehow that made me even madder. I knew that he was using my parents to make me give him all my money. Little by little, all the love I had for him was gone. But one day, it all came to a head. I discovered that he had taken $20,000 from my personal account without permission. For what, you ask? A new gaming PC and accessories. I was freaking pissed. I tried to get the charges cancelled, but it didn't happen. So as the last straw, I decided to report it to the police. Charlie was mad as hell when they came and picked him up. That day I was adamant that my marriage had to end. I needed to get out of it. What I didn't realize was that I would lose more than one person for my decisions. I texted my parents to inform them about what happened. I didn't want them to find out from someone else, so I told them that night itself. My parents had seen the messages and hadn't replied. I was a little concerned about their lack of reaction, but didn't have the energy to think about it. So I ignored it and went to sleep. It was an exhausting day after all. The next morning I woke up and saw that Charlie had texted me. He said,
"Hey wife, I'm already out of jail. Are you surprised? Well, I am surprised too. You know, I never thought that your parents would be the ones to bail me out."
"What? My parents bailed you out? That is impossible! They would never do that to me!"
"You're wrong on that one, Rain. One call from me and your parents were super eager to help me out. They even cussed you out while they were at the police station. I must say, they are very disappointed in you."
Hearing those words made my stomach turn. I didn't want to believe that my parents would do something like this. I rushed over to my parents' house to get answers from them. I had no idea why they had bailed Charlie out. I tried to keep them as uninvolved as possible. Still, they managed to talk to Charlie and pay for his bail. I was getting really angry thinking about what they did. I walked into my parents' house and said, "Mum, Dad, please don't tell me you bailed Charlie out. Don't tell me what I heard is true. I can't believe you could do something like this, Rain. We raised you better than that."
"You're simply punishing Charlie because he didn't listen to you. He had full right to use your credit card. After marriage, all of your money is his money too. He did nothing wrong."
"He stole from me, Dad. He took out $20,000 from my accounts. This was after he emptied out our joint account in the past. When does it stop, Dad?"
"We know you've been financially controlling towards him. It's not a good thing to shame your own husband for spending money. You were a bad wife to him."
"Yes, Jack has told us how you refuse to put more money into your joint account. Spouses shouldn't hide their money from each other, Rain. Jack doesn't hide any money from you." Jack didn't hide any money because he simply couldn't. After every paycheck, he had no money to hide. He barely contributed anything to our household expenses.
"Oh my God, are you shaming a man for earning less than you? What can poor Charlie do when he earns so little? I can't believe what a greedy and selfish brat you have become."
No matter what I said, my parents still supported Charlie. I should have seen this coming. They had always preferred him because he was a man. Charlie filled that hole in their heart of not having a son. Having a good and successful daughter was not enough for them. Still, I thought they wouldn't choose any man over their own blood. I was wrong. My parents were totally hopeless people. Their words hurt me. When they blamed me, I was disappointed and sad, but I wasn't prepared for what they said next. "Rain, you have truly turned into a horrible woman. I'm even ashamed to see what you have become. We can't associate with such a selfish daughter like you, so your father and I have made some decisions."
"Yes, we have invited Charlie over to our house. He will be staying with us until you get back to your senses. We will pay for his lawyer fees and everything. You better drop the case and take him back, otherwise we will disown you."
"You are going to house the man who stole from me and financially abused me for years. Are you really going to disown me over this? You can't be serious." "We are dead serious, Rain. It's time we teach you a lesson. You've gone away without consequences. Just because you're financially independent, that doesn't mean you can do whatever you want."
"Charlie has been such a good son-in-law to us. This time we stand up for him and help him out in this tough time. He's already like a son to us, so we will let him stay with us till you realize your mistake."
Nothing could have prepared me to see this coming. I thought my parents were partial towards my husband, but I never thought they could disown me for him. They constantly praised my abusive and freeloading husband for his wrong decisions, and belittled me for being the responsible one. What they said that day completely shattered my heart. All the love I had for them was gone. I realized that all my life I have been loving the wrong people. But I wasn't going to let them take advantage of me anymore, so I said, "Fine then, have him in this house. But mind you, if he comes to live here, I will stop sending you money. I won't pay you a cent, so you can go and spend it on my loser husband."
"We expected that from you, Rain. We already know what a selfish person you are. You don't have to send us money. We can take care of ourselves." "It's just like you to threaten us with money. Listen to me, Rain. You can't use your money to sway us. The money you earn has made you proud. We'll show you what a mistake you have made using your money to manipulate people. I don't think there is any reason for us to keep in contact with you. Don't come to this house or talk to us again."
I looked at my mother and she agreed with my dad. Both of them told me to go away and never show my face again. Hell, they told me that I shouldn't even call or text them. I took those instructions to heart and left the house. I didn't cry in front of them, but I did it in my car. I got so bad that I had to pull over to control myself. I spent over 30 years of my life trying to win the love of my parents, and yet they threw me away like trash. They treated me like trash and called me trash. I felt like my world had ended that day. I went home and cried myself to sleep. The next day, Charlie called me to gloat about stealing my parents. He was already at the house and settled into my old room. He called me to tell me all the details of how my parents hated me and loved him more. He said,
"Guess what, Rain? I'm currently in your old room that you treasure so much. Your parents personally came to pick me up. God, they really hate you right now, Rain."
I hope you're happy with this, Charlie. You're being rewarded for your crimes. Must be fun having a loving set of parents who are not even your own.
It was so freaking easy to manipulate them, Rain. I literally did nothing to win their affection. You ran after them like a dog, but still they never loved you like this. Hell, I think they actually hated you all their life. Poor little Rain. Worked so hard to make her parents love her. Guess you failed miserably in that.
I couldn't take it anymore. I hung up on him while he laughed at my misery. That horrible man even had the audacity to send me a picture of him lying flat on my old bed. I looked at it and wanted to cry, but I didn't do it. Instead, I pulled myself together and made a plan. I was going to follow through with my promise of not sending money. My parents didn't earn much, so I knew the absence of my allowance would hurt them. Plus, Charlie would show his true colours sooner or later. So, I stopped sending them money and waited. As predicted, my parents started to pester me for money just 2 days after the month was over. They broke their own no-contact order and started to ask and then demand for money. They said,
"Why haven't you sent us money yet? Do you have any idea how many bills are due?"
"What money, Dad? I already told you that I won't send you money anymore." "Fancy seeing you contact me after you proudly told me to get away from your life."
"Rain, don't be so rude. Things were said when we were all angry.
It's been weeks since that incident. It's time we get over it. Families don't hold grudges. So now that you need money, you have suddenly remembered that your daughter is family. Till yesterday, Charlie seemed to be more family to you than me. Why don't you go and ask him for money?"
"That won't be possible, Rain. He doesn't pay a cent for anything. We paid his bail, his phone bill, and his food. He's still asking us for money."
"Well, use your savings to feed him then. I'm sure you've saved some from the checks I was giving you guys."
"We already dipped into it when we paid for Charlie's bail. I'm afraid we have very little left from that. We need you to send us money, Rain. It's not fair you're still holding the past over us."
"No, this is completely fair, Mum and Dad. For years you've treated me unfairly because I am a girl. You took in Charlie and started to love him only because he is a man. I tried so hard to be a good daughter to win your affection, but you two just showed me how wrong I was. I should have done this a long time ago. I am cutting you two off. I don't need people like you in my life anymore." Years of hurt and betrayal came pouring out of my soul. I absolutely unloaded on them and told them exactly how pissed off I am. My parents were quiet when I was talking. When I was done, they started to plead with me for forgiveness because they really needed me to help them out. I hung up on them without listening too much. I had predicted that my parents would come banging on my door with their apologies and prayers. I even expected maybe some entitlement on their part, but my revenge became even sweeter because Charlie did something stupid. It made my parents file a police report against Charlie and kick him out. And if you want to know why, you need to see this conversation I had with them one day. They showed up at my doorstep to try and talk to me. I didn't open the door, but spoke to them from inside. They said, "Rain, you need to hear us out, dear. We are here to apologize for our mistakes. We never should have allowed an outsider in our house. You are family, and you should have been our priority. We got a little lost in our dreams of having a son. We didn't realize how bad your husband is. We've already paid for it dearly. Charlie stole our credit cards and cleared our savings. We don't even have money for food anymore. Rain, please don't let your parents starve. We need your help. We will stand by you this time, we promise. We've already reported the theft to the police and kicked Charlie out. You'll never step foot into our lives again. You should have thought about these when you happily chose Charlie over me. You're the only ones responsible for your conditions now. I will only send you some money for this month, but after that I am done. You have a month to figure out what to do with yourselves." I said that and left them on the porch. I felt bad for my parents a little, but then I remembered how little I meant to them. That was enough to make me mad at them again. I did send them some money because I can't let them starve, but that was the last check I spent on them. Like they had said, my parents did file a report to the police. They needed to get the charges reversed on their credit cards. Surprisingly, they sent me back the money I sent them last time. They kept begging and pleading with me to forgive them. Since the begging and pleading went on for a while, I was somewhat starting to get used to it. I saw it coming, but didn't expect them to be so active in asking for forgiveness. However, what they did next was even more unexpected than anything. They actually signed over their house to me as an apology for all the mistakes they had made against me. My parents showed up on my porch and left the papers there. I really didn't know what to think. Apparently they have also gotten jobs so that I won't have to waste my money on them anymore. I have returned the papers and haven't contacted them yet. As for my husband, well, he is my ex-husband now. Yes, I filed for a divorce and got his butt in prison for fraud. With a double case against him, Charlie's chances of avoiding jail were slim. As predicted, the judge put him in prison. That ought